thank you everybody for taking time out of your day to be here with us to talk about National Child Abuse Prevention Month, a topic that is important not just in the city of Albuquerque, but really nationally. And I've had a chance to talk to some folks this morning already about some experiences they're having, and it's a very important topic, and it's a very emotional topic as well. So once again, thank you for all being here today. For our dignitaries that are with us, I'd like to thank Council President Ken Sanchez, who is here with us today. What's going to be stand up and City Councilor Diane Gibson is here today. Councilor Brad Winters is scheduled to join us, as well as City Councilor Clarissa Vinny. I don't see Brad and Clarissa just at the moment, but I know they're on their way. County Commissioner Wayne Johnson is here. Also County Commissioner Ronnie Halbert. We've also got the men and women of the Albuquerque Police Department and Chief Downey and the men and women of the Albuquerque Fire Department that are here with us today as well. Important gathering, and as your mayor, I believe it was necessary that the city have a place and an opportunity to come together and recognize this issue during this month, which is National Child Abuse Prevention Month. In the last several months, we've witnessed all too many tragedies involving crimes against our most vulnerable citizens and children. The cases, frankly, are heartbreaking. We've all heard a lot about 9-year-old Marie Burrell, a little boy who we now know experienced much cruelty in his short life and died after being brutally beaten allegedly by his mother. Baby Isabella, whose death was a result of unspeakable acts by her mother's boyfriend. She was just 4 months old. These cases are not isolated. Several months before I was elected mayor, 3-year-old Ty Rubio was found buried in an Albuquerque park. The beautiful, wide-eyed toddler had been suffocated and placed there by his mother. These atrocities should never, ever happen in any city, in any nation, least of all to a child. We can and we must do better on behalf of our kids. And that effort starts here, and it starts today. In the city of Albuquerque, we're looking at a number of improvements and initiatives that we intend to adopt to bring meaningful change and better community outcomes. First and foremost, after the Marie Burrell case, I established a child abuse task force to review our own in-house processes and procedures as it relates to law enforcement's calls and how we respond to them. We have APD retired Commander CC Miranda is the leader of our task force, and I saw CC earlier. CC, would you stand up? Dr. Renee Ornelas is also with us, and she's a member of this task force, so thank you, Doctor, for that. The task force has already met. We had a meeting this week, earlier this week, to start the process of doing that. And there will be an opportunity for lots of folks to chime in on that as we go. The task force will make recommendations for improving policies and procedures. And in this year's budget, but I just sent to City Council President Ken Sanchez this week, we put $100,000 in that budget to get us kick-started on that effort. So when we have findings, whether they're from a policy or procedural standpoint, we have a place to start. The task force had its first outreach meeting, as I said, earlier this week, and we invited members of the community to come and share their concerns and hear from experts in the field. And it was a very robust and very productive beginning discussion. But we're not stopping there. Our ability to track cases both internally and with other agencies is crucial. So I've directed the funding of a full-time employee within the Albuquerque Police Department to act as a child abuse liaison, to work with other agencies who also have a role in the process, including CYFD. We must utilize every tool at our disposal to ensure that these cases don't fall through the cracks. Additionally, in this year's budget, we put $60,000 set aside for All Face Receiving Home. All Face provides a number of prevention, investigation, and treatment services to abuse victims in our communities. And these funds will be used to update video recording technology, which is an important component of both evidence gathering and prosecution purposes, and also to not re-traumatize children over and again. I was also pleased to learn that after discussions between CYFD and APD, Governor Martinez will be assigning CYFD staff to the city's Family Advocacy Center to work on site. This will bring even greater collaboration and coordination between these two important agencies, and that's a big deal. And once again, thank you to Governor Martinez for that. But these are response mechanisms, and awareness and prevention are equally important, which is why we're talking about our role today to educate people in our community about child abuse and to take it seriously. I'm a very strong proponent of collective impact, and we have great partners in this effort. The Children, Youth, and Families Department staffs a child abuse reporting hotline around the clock, 24 hours, 7 days a week. The city is looking to spread the word that we're all responsible for reporting child abuse, and we'll do everything that we can in our community to let people know how easy it is. The message is simple. If you suspect a child is being abused, neglected, or otherwise in danger, please report it by calling #SAFE on your cell phone, #SAFE, or 1-855-333-SAFE. It's a much repeated catchphrase, but it applies in many circumstances, but it applies no less to this one. If you see something, say something. We intend to share that message by advertising those numbers on posters within city buses, and public transportation areas, and to reach a wide audience, including people from all over our city. Additionally, we will help call attention to child abuse and how to report it through electronic billboards throughout Albuquerque. You should be seeing those soon. The city of Albuquerque already has contracts in place for advertising on these billboards, and I think of no more important message that we can share with our community. We're also very fortunate to have a partnership with KOB Eyewitness News 4 to help us raise awareness about what people can do in their neighborhoods, in their places of work, and in our community to affect change. The leadership of KOB stepped up without hesitation to offer their resources in order to reach a wide audience and spread the word about preventing and reporting child abuse in our community. KOB has donated the expertise and labor of their own creative and production team to create public service announcements utilizing their on-air talent. We all know who some of those folks are, Tom Jones and others, to highlight the importance of these issues and how their viewers can seek to help kids in our community when a child abuse is suspected. And we're sincerely grateful, so thank you, KOB. These are just a few of the steps we're taking to shine the light and spotlight on the importance of protecting children in our community. As I mentioned, our partnership with the Children, Youth, and Families Department, you may have noticed the beautiful photos here today of kids on display all around the room. And if you haven't had a chance to do this, please do. These amazing photos are part of CYFD's Heart Gallery, which utilizes professional photographers who give of their own time and resources to capture these extraordinary images of kids who are in our state's adoption program. At the City of Albuquerque, we're proud to host this wonderful gallery of photos in order to bring as much attention as possible to the fact that there are kids in our community who need good homes, forever homes, and good caring families. Maybe someone in the audience, yourself, or know someone who will be inspired to open up your heart and your home to a child today. And this begs the question, what can each of us do to make a difference to protect children in our city? In addition to adoption or becoming a foster parent, there are lots of ways to help. Become a mentor to a child, whether through volunteering at your neighborhood school or participating in Big Brothers, Big Sisters. You have no idea what difference a stable, caring adult can have in the life of a child who's never experienced that before. Donate to your local shelters and to your local food banks. For those families who are struggling to make ends meet, the stressors of just getting by can be overwhelming. Having basic needs met is a critical part of creating a stable home life for our kids. And there are many worthwhile nonprofits that can use your help. Many of them are here today, and I want to say thank you very much for being here today. They have booths set up throughout the room, and they look forward to making you aware of their services. There's so many ways you can get involved. Report suspected abuse and neglect. Give of your time and your resources to help charities that make a difference to kids in our community, and be a mentor to a child in need. The late Nelson Mandela captured it best, I think, when he stated that there can be no keener revelation of a society's soul than the way in which it treats its children. And with that in mind, our next speakers have a very compelling story to tell. It's really an inspirational story, and it's a story that I hope our community will take to heart. Clay and Michelle Schroff have 4 biological children, 2 adopted children that they had fostered before adopting, 3 pending adoption children that they also had fostered and are waiting to get full custody of as we speak. They have fostered over 40 children in the last 7 years. 95% of the children that they have fostered have been sexually or physically abused. I would like to introduce the Schroff family to you to come up and share a few words.
It's a real honor to be here. My name is Clay Schroff. I'm here with my beautiful wife, Michelle, and my kids, and we don't have time to introduce them all. But together we run an organization called the Aspen Project, and what we do is we inform the community to the needs of at-risk and troubled youth. Then we find agencies and organizations that we can plug you into. And then last, what we do is we come alongside you and help you through the process when we're helping kids. Foster care is the temporary placement of a child until a permanent solution can be found. And as foster parents, one of our very first placements was a sibling group of 3. And while the baby remained in the hospital, the two came home with us, and it was a 2-year-old and a 5-year-old. And in particular, the 5-year-old had a major issue when it came time to go to bed. And about the 3rd or the 4th night, as I was holding her, rocking her, trying to comfort her, I looked at her and I said, "Baby, why are you so scared to go to bed?" And she looked me in the eyes and she said, "It's because that's when the boogeyman come." And I've told my kids for years that there's no such thing as monsters or boogeymen. But I can tell you, as a foster parent, you quickly learn that that's not true. And as I squeezed her a little tighter, I told her, in this house, the boogeyman is not allowed. And if he ever did come, he has to get past Daddy Clay to make it upstairs. Now, it wasn't that night, and it wasn't probably even that week, but soon she was telling the other kids that the boogeyman doesn't come to our house. If a child is standing at your door, knocking, begging to come in, where they can be safe, where they can feel wanted and feel loved, there is no one in this room that can turn that child away. As the Aspen Project, we are the voice of that child, and we're knocking on your door, asking you to please open your door where a child can be safe, where they can feel loved, and they can feel wanted. There's a saying that says, for evil to prevail, all it takes is good men and women to do nothing. I don't want to be known as a generation that did nothing. We need to take action. Thank you.
Clay, your family is a shining example to everybody in our community who have given of your hearts and of your home to kids in need. So thank you for all the family that are here today. You're a beautiful, beautiful family. And thank you for coming and sharing your story and inspiring us. So thank you very much for that. Some of you may be familiar with our Friday's Hero Awards. It's a presentation that we make every Friday in the city of Albuquerque, in the mayor's office, usually to honor one of the great men and women of the Albuquerque Police or Albuquerque Fire Department. Many of them who have gone way above the call of duty with acts of heroism in our community. For Child Abuse Prevention Month, we've decided to select a member or members of our community who go above and beyond helping kids. So we want to start by presenting the award to the Schroff for the amazing work that they do. Clay, I guess you're going to have to come back up here to do this, but we'd like to have you and Michelle come up if you can. That's not all. It says ITS. We all know what ITS is in town. My son certainly does. They donated 11 biggest deals for the family, which are good for all-day rides, mini bowling, video games, buffets, drinks, and tickets and prize games. Ambassador Robbins has donated free ice cream cakes for each of the children's birthdays. So thanks again. And as I mentioned, we're going to spend this month to honor those like the Schroff family who are going above and beyond for kids in our community. So if you have folks that you want to nominate for this award, for Friday's Heroes Award, just send an email to heroesforchildren@cabq.gov. heroesforchildren@cabq.gov. Or you call 311, and they were always there to help you. I would like to now introduce a real key partner for us in this process of the city, and that's our city councilors, represented today by City Council President Kim Sanchez, and I believe City Councilor Diane Gibbs from District 7 will also be joining Councilor Sanchez. They have a few words of proclamation to say, and I just want to say to the council, as we work on this together moving forward as a community, the partnership between the mayor's office and the city council has always been a good one and always been productive. It is going to be no more important than now for this to happen. And so thank you for your leadership, and come on up and share some of your thoughts if you would, Councilor. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Mayor Berry. It is truly an honor to be standing here today among leaders of our community that truly care about the children in Albuquerque and across this country. Clay, Daddy Clay, and the family, I want to thank you for being here. It's an honor to be standing here and humbled to know the work that you do for this community. I also want to thank our firefighters and police officers that respond to calls each and every day. They take those jobs home with them, and when they see a child that is abused, it's a very, very difficult case for them, and it's a very difficult long haul to improve, and many times they need psychological help because of what they are seeing. And in our country, and in our state, and in our city, every child deserves a chance to live life at its fullest. Every child deserves a chance of happiness, and every child deserves a chance at success. Yet tragically, hundreds and thousands of young Americans shoulder the burden of abuse and neglect. The only sanctuary for many of these young children are the schools, are the community centers, and when they are sleeping with their doors locked. It is unimaginable and unthinkable that anyone could hurt a child, but we all know too well it is a serious problem across America, and it is a serious problem right here in Albuquerque and New Mexico. We, as a community, must strengthen our resolve to give every young child the security, the opportunity for a bright future that every child deserves. And at this time, I would like to welcome my colleagues from the Albuquerque City Council, who will read a proclamation on behalf of the Albuquerque City Councilor, Diane Gibson.
Thank you, President Sanchez, and thank you, Mayor Berry, for making this happen today. I am very humbled to be standing here and to be a part of this. And I hope that we can remember that when I look out, I see so many stakeholders in the welfare and the benefits and keeping our children protected. And I hope that we can remember not to dilute this by fringe groups, by people who would use this as an opportunity to advance their own will. So with that said, I hope that we can keep this focused where the focus needs to be, and that's protecting children truly. So I have actually the best job today. I get to read this proclamation and offer it to a group of individuals who truly need to be acknowledged for their work. So I'll just proceed to read this. Whereas the month of April is designated as National Child Abuse Prevention Month and is a time to acknowledge the importance of public safety, families, and communities who are working together to prevent child abuse and neglect, promoting the social and emotional well-being of children. And whereas this year we celebrate 40 years of the first Federal Child Abuse Prevention and Treatment Act, which was signed by President Nixon in January 31st of 1974, and it marked the beginning of a new national response to the problem of child abuse and neglect. And whereas in 1983, President Reagan proclaimed April to be the first National Child Abuse Prevention Month. And whereas in 2013, the Albuquerque Police Department's Crime Against Children Unit received approximately 11,200 referrals from CYFD and other sources, including APD's field officers. And whereas Lieutenant Mike Smith, Sergeant Rich Evans, Detective Heather Chavez, Michelle English, Dan Howie, Mike McCabe, Maureen O'Brien, Andrew Quillman, and Patricia St. Ange are the members of Crimes Against Children Unit. And whereas the detectives investigate each case in the most caring, detailed, and professional manner, and whereas the Crimes Against Children Unit works tirelessly to make sure children have a voice and an opportunity to grow up without fear of abuse, neglect, or death, be it proclaimed that the Council, the governing body of the City of Albuquerque, hereby recognizes and thanks the members of APD's Crimes Against Children Unit for standing up for our children during the month of April and every day of the year. Could Lieutenant Mike Smith, Sergeant Rich Evans, Detectives Heather Chavez, Michelle English, Dan Howie, Mike McCabe, Maureen O'Brien, Andrew Quillman, and Patricia St. Ange please rise so we may acknowledge you?
I also want to say thank you to Mayor Berry for sending down in his budget $100,000 for this initiative. And I can assure you that the entire council will be voting yes on this initiative. It's important to the city, and it's most important to our young children. Thank you.
It's now my honor to introduce Dr. Susan Miller. Dr. Miller is a clinical and pediatric psychologist and an assistant professor at the University of New Mexico School of Medicine. She specializes in cognitive rehabilitation therapy, we call it CRT. CRT is a cutting-edge technology that is computer-based. Dr. Miller works with children who have traumatic brain injuries due to accidents, child abuse, and illness. Dr. Miller also works to mitigate trauma and grief with the children and their parents. So please help me welcoming Dr. Miller.
Thank you, Mayor Berry, for letting me be part of today's event. This is really wonderful. I am Dr. Susan Miller, pediatric psychologist at UNM, and the founder and director of the UNM New Mexico Child Abuse Prevention Partnership. I started this partnership after feeling very, very overwhelmed with the number of child abuse cases I was seeing. I felt I was the only voice that really believed that child abuse was 100% preventable. Over the last few years, I have had the privilege of meeting many of you in this room, and I found out that there were so many passionate people who really wanted to end child abuse just like I did. Through community advocacy and collaborative partnerships, we can make a difference. As I look out at all of you, I am once again encouraged that I am not the only voice. Each of us has a role, no matter how big or how small, to help prevent child abuse. We need to work together, celebrating our differences and never giving up on our children. We need to continue to encourage our people, our communities, to get involved in eliminating child maltreatment. It is our job also to train the next generation of leaders who will carry out the fight for the children in New Mexico. I am honored to add my voice to yours to help every New Mexican know that child abuse is 100% preventable. Thank you.
As we start wrapping up today, I just want to mention a few more people that are in the room. A lot of our directors are here today. I see directors from Senior Affairs. I see our director from Family and Community Services, Doug Chaplin, is here today. If you're a city director or if you're someone that's involved in the city of Albuquerque in this issue, please stand up also, staff and everyone else, and give you a round of applause. Speaking of the Heart Gallery, which is such a wonderful effort, Candace Gould is with us today too. She and her husband Leland have really taken it upon themselves to take the Heart Gallery all over New Mexico. They raise a lot of money for this effort, and Candace, thank you, and Leland for all that you do in our community as well. We've purchased a fantastic lunch from one of the, as we wrap up, we want to encourage everyone to take advantage of the fact that we have a great food vendors who have set up just outside the doors of the East Complex near the elevator exits. They came out specifically for today's event. You can purchase a fantastic lunch from one of these food trucks on your way out, and we hope you can take advantage of that opportunity to experience some of their outstanding food as well. We have a lot to do in our community, as we've heard today, as Councilor Gibson read the proclamation. She talked about things that happened in the 70s and the 80s, and here we are in 2014 and moving forward. This is an issue that is with us and that we need to pay attention to every day, not just today, not just in the month of April. I think we know that as a community, if we come together and keep our eyes and ears and our hearts open, we can make a fundamental difference in the lives of children. Many, many people here today that came with your booths, thank you so much for the work that you do and the passion that you bring to this most important issue. So as you leave today, I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for caring enough to take time out of your day to be here, number one, to advocate in our community today and as we move forward. So let's get the word out in the city of Albuquerque and talk to your friends and family all over the country as well about this issue. Let's make this month of awareness count. We'll have the billboards, we'll have resources available, we'll have the awards that we give out each and every Friday, but at the end of the day, it takes you. It takes those in our community. If you see a child in danger, or if you have questions, or if you have concerns, there are folks out here, both in the private sector and the public sector, who are there to help. So once again, thank you for being here today, and God bless you.